Yo peoples, welcome to Okra's Kitchen. Today I'm gonna show you how to do beans stew and fried plantain. So we got some ingredients: paprika, all peppers, garlic powder, the usual plantain. I chopped some nice fine plantain, chopped them quite nice and inside the plantain skin. We'll take them out, we'll do that later. You got some onions as usual, garlic, and ginger. Then this is my man. This is one of the main ingredients. He's called Kobe. It's tilapia fish that has been fermented with salt for maybe like a few months, 6 months or more. Smells, well, it's not everybody's taste, but I'm not gonna make it overpower the bean stew, don't worry. Then we have some salt fish, which I've soaked in water just to make sure that we get rid of all the salt, and that's the salt fish for you. Coward's skinless, boneless saltfish, because we don't want bones in there. Then that's the beans, which I've been cooking for quite a while. I soaked it over this morning and I started cooking it. So that's it. You see the nice beans? It's black-eyed beans. Anybody who wants to know what kind of beans we use for plantain, fried plantain, what they call yokogari. Mine is not yokogari, but it's basic, nice bean stew with Kobe and saltfish with some fried plantain. And you can have gari with it if you want to. So let's get on with business, yeah? Guys, I hope you all are watching me. As I always say, if you like it, subscribe it. If you don't like it, don't subscribe it. So this beans is cooking. Now, at the moment, the beans is still a bit hard. I put it in there quite a while back. But don't worry, it's hard. Some people like it very soft. I like it a bit, not crunchy, but yeah, you know what I mean. Like, you know, something that you can chew a bit on, but not too hard, obviously. You want it cooked, because beans can be very undercooked if you're not careful and you have everything cooked, but the beans is undercooked. That's why the beans were soaked, and now it's been cooked. Now what I'm going to do now is I'm just going to get rid of the beans out of the pan, yeah? And for now. Okay, so what I'm doing now is just getting rid of the beans in here and putting it in a sieve, nice sieve, yeah, so the water comes out, and I shall gradually put this on the side, yeah. So that's basically all what I'm doing now, getting rid of the beans in this. Now put it in here, yeah, there we go. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to get rid of some of the water, yeah, so it makes it easier for me to get rid of this. So there we have it, more beans. I put the fire a bit lower because we're not cooking that now. More beans, hope it will fit in here. I'm just hoping so that it's going to fit all in here. If not, I'll find some other container to put the rest in. But oh, look at those beans, man, come on, black eye beans, you know. You can't go wrong with beans, you know. Good protein, yeah, very good protein for those of us who enjoy having a bit more protein in our diet than carb. Beans is a good one. So I'll pull this away and I'll be back. So I'm going to light the fire again, because what we're going to do now is put some oil in here. No? Not too much oil, but you know, just enough, because the beans, now what we're going to do is going to get the base and the Kobe and the saltfish and the onions fried in to get that flavor that we require for our beans, yeah? The beans on its own, no, yeah? So I'll put some oil in, not too much, just about right. Let it just sizzle and boil. Now as usual, we got the big spoon here we can put this beans that I took out, yeah? Put it on the side for now. We'll be going there to it in a bit. So, in the meantime, what we're gonna do now is just get the oil in there and then get this onions and garlic in there. Now it's frying up very good, so I'm going to start putting that in there. Yeah, but don't worry, just whack everything in there. Okay, whack everything in there. There we go. And keep on mixing as you go on. I've got my magic paposhito there. I'm going to put 2 in, yeah, for now. I don't want to get this overpowered and too hot burning. Okay, we don't want that. So what I'm going to do is I'm also going to slowly put in this Kobe. Okay, but before I do that, I've soaked it a bit. I'm just going to give it a little wash. One sec. This Kobe head, it's only for the flavor. Some of us don't like. I like to eat Kobe and I'll eat a bit with the beans, but I'm just frying it in here to give the stew, the bean stew, that authentic Kobe flavor. Again, not everybody likes it. You can go with your normal saltfish if you want, which I soaked. So I'll be putting that in at some point as well, but the saltfish is quite soft, so it's one of those things you don't want to put in very early, obviously. As time goes on, it will go in. I may put a small piece just to get that saltfish taste, yeah, and flavor in the, just with the Kobe. So that's going to go in. Just a little piece can go in there. But for the main, it's just the Kobe you're going to fry in the onions, yeah. Now let's show you what's going on here. To show you what's going on here, I need my little towel. Put it there. There you go. See what's going on here? The Kobe is being infused into the whole food, and it gives that flavor, that kind of flavor that we require for this bean stew. So now, as we fry these, there are going to be some spices I'm going to put in here, yeah, at some point. But I want the Kobe to really fry here for some time before I do that. To be honest, let me take a bit more of the saltfish and fry it in there as well, yeah. As they say, this is the base. I'll be taking this out at some point. The Kobe will be going out at some point. I'll be putting it in here. It's not going to be thrown away, it's going to be eaten. But obviously, you just need that. So whilst we do that, the Kobe is still in there. I'm not going to take him out yet, not at all. We're going to put some Maggi in there. Yeah? Again, Maggi is quite a good, obviously not everybody's cup of tea. But because of the salts in there, you got to be careful how many Maggies you put in there. And the fact that we've got Kobe, so I may put just 3 or so Maggies in there, because I've got quite a bit of beans to go. So 3 Maggies for this. But again, depends on your taste and what you want. Yeah. For now, 3 Maggies would do it. Remember, I'm not going to put in any salt in this dish because we've got the Kobe, which is salted, so we don't need that to be, you know, we don't need extra salt in there. And the Maggies have got salt as well, so you have to be really careful how you manage this dish, because if you're not careful, you may end up over salting it, basically, if you can say that. Yeah. So this is coming on nicely. You can see the Kobe. I can even smell the nice, how would I say, fumes of the Kobe is coming in. Yeah? I'm gonna put in at this point a little bit of black pepper, yeah, about a teaspoon of black pepper. Then we got some all-purpose seasoning. Remember again, I said there's so much salt in these spices, some of them, like the all-purpose, so just a little, not much. What I'm gonna put in is paprika. I love paprika, and it gives your stew or your beans a nice red, you know, look. And obviously it's a good kind of spice, yeah. So that maybe about 3 teaspoons or so, depending on your taste. I normally cook a lot with paprika, but you got to be careful. Again, if you overspice your dishes, you may end up getting too much of something in there which overpowers this. Now let me just give you this, show you what's happening in there. Yeah, there you go. See, that's the Kobe doing its work in there. No, with the onions being caramelized to give us that sweet taste in there. No, so that's what we've gotten to so far. Okay, now as I said, at some point I'm going to take the Kobe out. The Kobe will come in at some point again, but for now I think he's had a good time in there. Some of his what's it called, his taste and his flavor has already been infused in there, and that will give you a good base. Now before I take the Kobe out, I'm gonna get a small half a teaspoon or so of garlic, yeah? Garlic powder. Even though I use the fresh garlic, I've got garlic powder as well, which I don't mind using. Yeah? So I think that will be enough of the spices while we go along, and I'm going to bring Mr. Kobe out. Yeah, Mr. Kobe will come out now at this point, because I don't want him to overpower our dish. He can come in later again. He's had a bit of a go in there, and he's done what he could. So now this is the tomato puree I'm going to use. Yeah, I'm just going to put in a bit, depending on how. I've got quite a bit of beans, so this tomato puree probably is about half in there. So I put about the whole half in there, which would be about 3 or 4, let's say 4 or 5 teaspoons. Teaspoons actually. So this will go in there. At the moment, what you need to do is lower this, because what happens is the spices start burning, and if you're not careful, you will get your spices all burnt. You don't want your spices burnt. You want everything to go on slow but sure. Now, another thing I've got here is some cherry tomatoes, which I had from my garden from last year. Now, they've been washed already. I'm not going to chop them up or anything. I will just put them in like that, full. Don't worry, at some point they're gonna be cooked and they'll get mushy, and then you can put them in. Yeah, so that's the tomatoes I'm using. Yeah, I'm not gonna be using any other kind of, you know, tin tomato in there, nothing. I've got enough tomato puree in here. Yeah, I've also got the scotch bonnets, or as we like to say, pakushito, in here. You can see what's happening in here at the moment. You've got the nice base going on with the tomato puree, the tomatoes, the onions, the fish that I put in there that I took out. For now, we got the beans. At some point, these people are gonna go in there. Yeah, not yet. They'll go in there at some point. Okay. So let's carry on with the mixing of this. Make sure that everything cooks slowly. You know, if you need to rub the bottom of your pan a bit, just keep on doing it. You don't want it to get burnt. That's the main thing. And if you do it slow, it's not gonna get burnt, and you're gonna enjoy a very good flavorsome dish here, trust me. So at this point, I'm going to show you one magic thing I do. I'm going to bring it I'm going to put it in just a teaspoon or two full, and I know why I put it in. It's just to capture that sweetness a bit, you know. Give this dish a bit of sweetness, not too much, but a little bit. So what I'm going to that's the baby, yeah? This is called ketchup. Not much, don't worry about that. You'll never even taste the ketchup. It's just to get a bit of sweetness in this dish, yeah? So about 2.
Guilty. She powers her pup empire with Shopify. Sales won't stop. With Charlie's technique sorted,
I've just come with a little bit more
into a global operation.
tomato puree, yeah, because the other one was just not enough, so just a little bit in there. I've got another magic, which is a bit of chili, just a little to give you that. So it's green chili, this one is, if I can get some out, actually.
Think you know Disney Plus? Think again. Discover personalized Disney Plus picks based on your Spotify favorites. From the latest
just a little.
To new and exclusive
again, I don't want to overpower this.
find out what to watch next on Disney Plus
Yeah,
based on the music
a teaspoonful will do. Okay, and we mix that. Now everything is coming on brilliantly here. You can see even the tomatoes that I put in there are beginning to. I think that's enough tomatoes I put in there. There we go. So it's time for you to have a look again at what's going on here. Yeah. So you can see visually that the tomatoes are slowly getting softer, and eventually they're gonna break, and you wouldn't see them in there again. Yeah. So there's no need to chop them. Just put them in and let them slowly but surely develop their. You can squash them out at some point if they're squashable. No, remember that. But eventually they're all gonna slow but sure get through. Yeah. So very soon I'm gonna be putting in one of the main masters of the whole base here, yeah, which is gonna be, and before I do that, I need some water as well, because what you now need to realize is the beans hasn't cooked, so this is going to be on fire for quite a while, you know, until the beans gets even softer. At the moment they're quite hard. Yeah, they're quite hard. Yeah, if you press one, you see, it's edible, it's fine, but there will be a bit more cooking in there. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to get some water in that, fill it at about 1200. Yeah, milliliters. Drink that. Fresh water. That's not going to go in yet. Still trying to infuse this, and all the tomatoes are broken now. I've broken all of them now. I can really. So we're going to put a little bit of water in here for now, just to get that. There we go. See that? It's coming out nice, nah? Now there are one or two things I may pick out at some point, which is the tomato skins, but they're okay because they give it that extra, you know, extra dimension basically. Now there's one thing I always like to do, which is add a small teaspoon of our dear old curry powder. Yeah? All these I'm adding, they're not going to overpower, they're just going to augment, mix together, and you would never be able to see who is the main spice in this wonderful bean stew. The beans will be the main man. That's it. The spices will just augment the beans and help the beans. So I'm going to put this low because it's getting a bit too hot now. So I'll show you one more what's happening before we go on to do the other bits. I'll pour a bit more water in here. Yeah. Now. Okay. Well, the beans is going to go in. But before I do that, I just want to show you what we've got here. Yeah. So this is basically what the beans is going to soak in with a bit more water. Yeah, so that he's got the chance to cook. Yeah, so there we go. So the beans, you can dump the whole thing in straight away. Don't worry about that, just dump it all in straight away. Good. Now one other thing I'll show you as we go along is there was nice stuff from the beans. There you go. See what's happening in there? The beans is becoming, as the beans is going to soak up all these spices that were sort of prepared initially here. The beans is just going to soak this up and cook. So what I'm going to do is, there's some water that came from the beans. Yeah, you remember the beans when I cooked it? I left a bit of water because I had to sieve it. So I left this water, which is also going to go in there, because as I say, this is a beans stew. Yeah, so the beans flavors, the nuttiness of the beans, and the lovely flavors of the beans should be the main part of this dish, basically. Yeah, that's what we want. Even though we have other things in there, like the Kobe, the beans is the main man in here. Yeah, so we've got that now simmering. So at the moment, again, I shall add a little bit of water. Don't be afraid, because the beans soaks a lot of water. Now as time goes, we're gonna have, as time goes, what we're gonna have, we're gonna leave this for like at least half an hour to 40 minutes to sizzle, cook, very slow temperature. Now I'll put one of these on there just to give it a nice look. Now guys, after this point, if you want to watch and continue to see how we finish this, please go and look up for part 2, which will be coming next. Yeah, likey, subscribey, don't likey, don't subscribe. Bye guys. Bye.